We're now going to work through a qualitative analysis of acid strength. So basically what this means is we're going to be able to look at different protons or different molecules and decide which one is more acidic without using pKa values. We're going to use structure to do this. Right? There's one very, very important thing that I want you to keep in mind as we go through this entire discussion. And that is a stronger acid has a more stable conjugate base. And in many of these cases, we're going to determine relative acidity not by looking at the acids, but by looking at the conjugate bases. So we're going to go through several rules in this analysis. And in general, we apply these rules in order. And at the end, we'll see some combined examples. The first is the charge effect. And what we find is that a positively charged acid is going to be the most acidic, and followed by a neutral acid, and then a negatively charged acid is certainly going to be the least acidic. And in fact, we usually think of negatively charged species as being bases, not acids. So let's compare a couple of molecules and see if we can use this effect to assess the acidity. Let's say we want to figure out which one is more acidic, ethanol or protonated ethanol. Well, based on this effect, you can probably surmise that the one that is positively charged is going to be more acidic. And in fact, there's a pretty large pKa difference. The hydrogen on ethanol OH, it has a pKa of 16. The hydrogen on OH2 plus here is -2. So we can automatically say the one on the right is more acidic. But let's look at why in reference to this statement up here. The stronger acid has a more stable conjugate base. So let's see what happens if we react each of these with a base, just B minus. So the base will take a proton off of each molecule and will give us here O minus, and in the second case, OH. So what you can do then is compare these conjugate bases. Well, of the two, which of these do you think is more stable? Which do you think is happier? Well, if you look at the two, this one has to carry a charge. It has an excess of electrons, versus the one on the right is neutral. That one is a happier conjugate base. It's more stable. And the more stable conjugate base comes from the stronger acid.